All righty. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here to our regular county council meeting. I'd like to call our meeting to order at 9:30. Councillor Chamzik sends her regrets. She cannot be here at this time, but hopes to join us later today. I'd like to start with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge Athabasca County is located on First Nations Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 Traditional Territory. We respect and honor all First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples' connection to these lands, their history, language, and culture. So if we can begin with the approval of the agenda, are there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, if we can move to the consent agenda, the items that must be selected are 2.1, 5.1, 5.2, and 9.1. Are there any other? Councillor Cromwell?
8.5, please.
8.5. Anyone else? Councillor? 7.1, thank you. That was missing. Thank you very much for pointing that out. 7.1. Go ahead.
8.2.
8.2. I would also like to add 4.1 and 4.2.
Sorry, where is 4.2?
I'm sorry?
I don't have 4.2 on the agenda that was circulated.
Right. The one, it's on the consent agenda, yes. Just wanted to mention it is online, and a copy will be forwarded to you. Councillor Anderson?
The updated copy wasn't printed for our mailboxes either, so I'll require a printed copy.
All right, maybe if we can take a recess, please, at this time until everyone has a copy of the agenda, please.
Counselor Hall, did you receive either of those emails containing the agenda?
I did go online and get it already.
So, okay, so you've got the
Like,
latest,
I've just gone and got the updated copy, but I think it's, yeah, these are items that should be added to the agenda. They shouldn't just show up on an agenda that we don't all get circulated. In my view. But I do have a copy now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're back from recess and apologize for the technical difficulties and not everyone receiving a copy of the agenda. So we will begin again with go through the consent agenda. The items that must be discussed are 2.1, 5.1, 5.2, 7.1, and 9.1. Those items that I know of that have been added so far are 4.1, 4.2, 8.2, 8.3, 8.5. And if I understand correctly from reports, 11.1D as in dog, 11.1K, 11.1Q, and 11.1V as in Victor. Is there any further additions for the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I didn't hear 7.1.
Yeah, 7.1 is,
It was, okay.
thank you. Yeah. Anybody else? Pardon me? The 11s were 11.1D, 11.1K, 11.1Q, and 11.1V. And Councillor Cromwell?
I think Councillor Hall had his hand up. I was just going to make the motion to approve it.
Okay.
Adopt.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Hall?
I didn't, I think I heard you say 2.1, which again, we still don't have. I think 3.1 needs to be on the agenda. And regarding items 4.2, 9.1, 9.2, and 11.1S, these items haven't met the circulation criteria under the bylaw, and I think at the very least, they need to be additions to the agenda. They're not urgent, they're not emergent, and we can't get into a situation where we circulate one agenda and then slip in a new version less than 24 hours before the meeting. It's a bad pattern. So I think those have to be considered additions.
Can we just hold on a moment? Councillor Hall, I believe the corrected or the amended agenda that came out was online prior to 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken. I could be corrected for that, but I know I'd been working on it for a couple of days for just what was
Timeline
on.
is 72.
I'm sorry?
The timeline is 72 hours. It doesn't give everybody a chance to look at the agenda when things pop out less than a day before the meeting, and it was less than 24 hours as well, if you're looking at the clock.
All right, so would you like to make a motion then for additions to the agenda?
No, I don't think they should be on there. They're not urgent. They could wait for the next meeting.
So which items would you like deleted?
Well, 4.2, 9.1, and 9.2 and 11.1S don't meet the criteria to be on the agenda. So they can be deleted from the amended agenda or just not on the agenda that was circulated.
Would you like to make a motion to delete 4.2? And I'm sorry, repeat.
No, it's not a positive motion, Chair. It's these items should be additions. So I would make a motion to add 4.2, 9.1, and 9.2, and 11.1S.
All right, is there any objection to that motion to
And then I
add?
would like to split the question on that motion.
All right. How would you like to split the question, Councillor Hall? And if you could please be very specific so that it is recorded.
I think we need to vote separately on the addition of 4.2, 9.1, 9.2, and 11.1S.
Okay. So if we can begin with the additions of 4.2, 9.1, 9.2, and 11.1S. All those in favor?
Madam Chair, who made that motion?
That would be Councillor Hall or Councillor Hall for that addition. All those in favor? We have 3. Therefore, I would think that would be 5 are opposed. So 4.2, 9.1, 9.2, and 11.1S will not be considered on today's agenda. May I have a motion for that amended agenda? Councillor Cromwell?
No.
Okay. Councillor Gerlach? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? 7 and 1. Thank you. As we're going to move into the public hearing, I'd like to move to recess the council meeting and proceed with the public hearing. Is there a motion to recess the council meeting? Councillor Minns has made a motion to recess the council meeting and proceed with the public hearing under 3.1. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mr. Councillor Gerlach? Yep. All any opposed? 8-0. Thank you. I declare the public hearing open. I'm Tracy Holland, the Reeve for Athabasca County, and I will be the chair of the hearing. On behalf of council, I would like to welcome you here today. Council is present, and I would like to take a moment for introductions. Beginning on my right is Councillor Minns, Councillor Kapitanic, Councillor Gerlach, Councillor Cromwell. On my left, we have Councillor Wallach, Councillor Anderson. Councillor Hall is on Zoom. From administration, we have Director Wilkinson. We have our research and grant writer, Angela Karsmarschak, our Director of Corporate Services, Shadia Ambli, and our recording secretary, Tammy Pleward. The secretary of our public hearing is Bob Beck, who is the CAO for Athabasca County. Any persons who have joined the meeting in person or via Zoom and are wishing to be heard should please give your full name now. I'm sorry. Can you speak a little louder? Thank you. The public hearing for bylaw 022-2024 is now open.
The purpose of this public hearing is for Athabasca Council of the county to hear testimony from interested parties. It is not meant to be a debate between presenters, and all comments must be directed to council through the chairperson. Only one person may speak at a time, and each person wishing to provide input to council will have the opportunity to do so. The ground rules of the hearing and the order of speaking will be Director of Community Protective Services, Krista Wilkinson, will speak first to outline the background and provide an explanation of the bylaw. Members of the public who are wishing to be heard will be given the opportunity to speak. Director Wilkinson will be given the opportunity to present closing remarks or address any of the issues presented. Councillors will be given the opportunity to ask questions. Council will then end the public hearing and will later consider the information received at the public hearing. Council will only consider matters raised at the hearing. Only councillors may ask questions of speakers during the hearing. If any persons want to ask questions of a speaker, they must ask the chair to ask the question on their behalf during their presentation, and the chair will only ask the question if the chair wishes to have an answer in order to undertake its consideration.
Thank you. Before hearing from the public, I would ask Director Wilkinson to provide background and explanation of the proposed bylaw.
Good morning. This application to amend the land use bylaw was received, proposing a zoning change from urban reserve to country residential for Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 1221962. The applicants are looking to develop this residential parcel. This parcel was previously developed with a mobile home servicing and a concrete pad remain on site. The mobile was moved off in April of 2015. This property is 1.24 acres in size, approximately 0.9 kilometers west of the hamlet of Collington, and is accessed off of Township Road 652. First reading of this bylaw was approved on October 31st. This property is currently in the urban reserve, which does not allow for new development of a residence. The adjacent landowners and agencies, title interest holders were notified, and the public hearing notification was also posted on the county website and in the local paper. Thank you.
Pardon me, I was not on mic.
Just wondering the access to this lot one, is it a dual access onto the property, or is there gonna be another access built?
At the time of subdivision in 2012, it was identified as a shared access.
Okay, and we'll just keep it that way as a shared access?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Counselor,
Just taking this, assuming there's no written concerns from the neighbors at all?
The chair will be asking for
Okay.
that.
Sorry.
no worries. If there are any other questions for the points of clarification, they would just wish to ask the director. All right. Thank you, Director. Director Wilkinson, are there any written materials that have been submitted?
Yes, so we got some responses from the referrals that we sent out. The first one is from Transportation and Economic Corridors. Transportation and Economic Corridors' primary concern is protecting the safe and effective operation of provincial highway infrastructure and planning for future needs of the highway network in proximity to the proposed land use amendment. Given the information provided to date, and as this juncture, this is merely a change in land use designation. Strictly from Transportation and Economic Corridors point of view, we do not anticipate that the redesignation as proposed would have any appreciable impact on the highway. Therefore, we do not have any objections to the proposed land use redesignation and or favorable consideration by the Athabasca County Land Use Authority. The next one is from Fortis. Fortis, Alberta has no concerns regarding this land use bylaw amendment application. Oops. The next one, TELUS has no concerns with the proposed activities. Alberta Forestry and Parks Land Delivery has no objection to the proposed rezoning application attached. And the last one is Apex has no objection to the proposed land use bylaw amendment described in the file mentioned. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I now call upon the persons wishing to speak. Please state your name for the record before you begin. Do you wish to speak?
I'm
Just listening. Okay, no, I appreciate that. Understood. Thank you very much. Because we have no other persons to speak, does council have any questions or points of clarification? None? Is there anyone else who has not spoken and wishes to speak? Thank you. Does council have any questions or other points of clarification? Of this? No? If no, well, then there being no further testimony, I will close the public hearing. I further advise council cannot receive any further information on this matter. Thank you for attending the public hearing. I declare the public hearing closed at 9:58. Thank you for taking the time to join us this morning. We will now resume our regular county council meeting. Being that we are close to 10, we will recess the county council meeting and enter the MPC meeting. Again, continuation of our regular county council meeting. We are at 4.1, approval of the minutes. I do have a couple of items I would like to pass along for correction, if I may, on page 8 of your agenda. Under resolution CC 24-541. The second item for meeting at 9:30 should be actually 1:30. And the wording, if we may, is CEOs of the town of Athabasca and the county. And the second item would be the December 2nd, 2024, add lunch with AU and CEO and Deputy Reeve. And that is all I have. Does anyone else have any amendments they would like to make? If not, we'll go ahead with a motion. Councillor Cromwell would like to approve the minutes as amended. All those in favor?
Aye.
No opposed. That would be 8-0. Thank you. Being our delegations are due at 11 and 11:30, we will move to item 7.1, page 63 of your agenda, which is the land use bylaw amendment. Is there anyone?
I'll move second reading bylaw 22-024.
Okay. Is there any discussion with regards to? All right, so Councillor Mins would like to give second reading of bylaw 022-2024 land use bylaw amendment for lot 1, block 1, plan 1221962 within Northeast 96522 west of the 4th from urban reserve district to country residential CR1 district. No discussion is ensuing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And no opposed would be 8-0. Okay, thank you. Councillor Kapitaniak would like to give third and final reading of bylaw 022-2024 land use bylaw amendment. All those in favor?
Aye.
And doesn't appear to be any opposed. 8-0. Thank you very much. If we could please move on to item 8.2, page 111 of your agenda. This is for the Peaceful Pine Cemetery grounds equipment request. Is there a motion? Councillor Wallach, please go ahead.
Just to admit, did we not have a grants for cemeteries for $3,000? Was that still a thing? Or did we cancel that?
Through the chair to Councillor Wallach, that is correct.
So would this funding come out of that too, or is that different?
This is different.
Councillor Kapitaniak.
I would like to move the recommended motion.
Thank you.
I think that is, and speak to it if I can.
Absolutely.
As we have spoken in the past, there are some cemeteries that have, I want to say in a graceful way, aged out and have turned their entire operations over to the county in respect of the people that are in the cemetery. And I'm grateful that this community group continues to bring in, I'll say, the middle generation to maintain the cemetery and has so far not felt the need to have to ask the county to take it over. And that, yes, we have a grant for $3,000 that's available, but I don't think it's, I should say, I think it is actually prudent to give what is needed to keep the group running and so that it doesn't become a greater burden on the county in the future.
Thank you. And yours, okay, Councillor, I think.
Yeah, thank you for that support, Councillor Kapitang. The fact of the matter is that they broke into the shed and they basically took all the equipment that the cemetery committee had. And this request is to replace some of that equipment because the deductibles over is $5,000. So it really didn't, the insurance really doesn't cover anything. So they're left without any equipment.
Thank you. Councillor Mins?
I guess on that note, just to bring that just ask a question. Is the equipment moved out of the place that it was or?
Yeah, the equipment's moved into the chairman of the cemetery committee. They've moved the CCAN. Pardon?
Don't say this publicly.
No, it's moved to,
Don't say where it is.
It's
long
in
as
the
it's-
secure-
I think it's, I
It's in
think
a
it's safe and secure.
Safe and
Secure
secure,
location.
that's the main. No problem. Perfect, thank you.
Madam Chair, just to give you a bit more information, we attempted to run it through county insurance and it didn't qualify.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? All right, the recommended motion through Councillor Kapitanic is that council approve Peaceful Pine Cemetery capital contribution funding request for $7,000 to purchase grounds maintenance equipment and further to source the funds from the grants to organization budget. All those in favor?
Aye.
I see no opposed. That is 8-0. Thank you. Okay. All righty, so if we can move on to 8.3, page 114 of your agenda. Oh, pardon me. Pardon me? Exactly, thank
I'd
you.
like to table that.
Yeah, just reading this, appreciate that. We will go to 8, and 8.5 is also the delegation.
Yeah.
So we are going to go forward to reports or reports. 11.1 D, alternative land use services, Councillor Mintz.
Yeah, we had a good meeting on November 13th. APOS, Alberta, Alberta Outfitters Association, came in and did a presentation for us. They fund a great amount of, projects, and, also, looking for studies and stuff like that. They do a lot of funding. So they came in and they presented to the Alice Committee, and they were established in 1997. There's over 500 outfitters that are in their organization, and they do like a pronghorn projects. They actually funded Alice Committee down in Pincher Creek. They fired up a Alice Committee down there, and so we got lots, and then they did studies on ticks on moose, how they affect them and that. So it was a good presentation. Had an update from Alice Canada. Everything's going smooth there. Update on the admin shortfall. I think they got things figured out there for helping admin through the funding process. We did had a discussion about needing a plastic mulch applicator through the county of Barrhead was looking at possibly requiring a new one. We've had one there for about 40 years or 30 or 40 years. So there will be a letter coming to the ASB boards in Athabasca, Barrhead and Westlock, requesting funding through the ASB to purchase a new plastic mulch applicator that is mostly used by the Alice committees, or the Alice funding for shelter belts and that. So we'll be looking forward to seeing that letter come forward. And what else? Other than that, we approved 10 new projects, 5 being shelter belts, 5 being repairing area protection, and 2 shelter belts are in Athabasca County, and 1 repairing area is in Athabasca County. So the actually the Alice organization is growing. Lots of people are taking it, information and they're actually running with it. So it's a great committee to be on. I just wanted to let everybody know that. So yeah, that's that.
That's awesome.
Any questions?
I actually just have a comment. The work that Alice is doing, and as you mentioned, is continuing to grow further with a lot more municipalities coming on board, and to have those projects that are happening in Athabasca County, I think is absolutely amazing. So thank you to the committee for all the work that they're doing. That's great.
You betcha. No, it's good to see that conservation is happening and it's going even more like the RELP asking for RELP funds, and that is coming out in February, and that's a federal grant, and that's huge. That's where you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that RELP conservation end will probably be full in a matter of a month. Because everybody's jumping on there. So it's a great thing to see happening anyway.
That's awesome. Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Alrighty, thank you very much for that report. And we will give you the floor again at 11.1K for the Athabasca Watershed Council.
Yep, had another meeting there, November 21st. Discussion on the through the watershed. The big thing is the 15-year anniversary again. We celebrated it at the conference in Hinton, and there's booklets. I have them with me, just with how they celebrate it and everything. I'll leave a couple of booklets here for council to have a peek at. We can also get more from the Watershed Council. The other thing, they hired a new coordinator for the Upper Athabasca, which will be looking after in between Hinton, White Court, and the headwaters of the Athabasca. It's great to see that happen. So we got coordinators all the way through the watershed now, Upper, Mid, and Lower Athabasca. And I think financials are all good. AEP was there. Actually, they're always looking for funding. They're always reaching out. They're looking for grants. We got great people working there. There's I think 5 full-time and 3 contractors now. And they do a great job. Science end is amazing. Communication is, they're looking at maybe bringing somebody on just to look after communications because it's getting huge. And the girl that the coordinator that's looking after both, she's looking after communication and the teaching, getting out to the schools is actually getting overwhelmed because communication is huge, like I said. So that's moving along. We had a great report. I'm just going to say the meeting happened so quick that I couldn't get the report from AEP into this agenda. So I'll be putting it into the next agenda because I think it's an amazing read from AEP, wherever I have it here. It gives just a whole breakdown on what's been happening in the Alberta government for flood mapping, water availability. Water availability session is going on. There's a kind of like a survey going out there, and what that mainly means is the talk of interbasin transfers is still out there. Huge out there. You know, they're talking about taking water from one watershed and putting it into another watershed, which is it's not usually talked about because there's actually in the Water Act, you're not supposed to do it. But so that's where this availability is for water is coming from. And it's something that should be looked at and people understand what could happen. They could be taking water out of the North Saskatchewan or out of the Athabasca and putting it into the South Saskatchewan and Bow Rivers and that, and who knows? but it is still in the discussion stage. So, and what else? They're looking at drought responses, trans boundary update is in here, new water division, surface water management audit, climate change. We even got a little bit of a breakdown on how they feel the weather is going to be this year, for snowpack and all this other stuff. So, and actual precipitation, and then, groundwater modeling. There's lots going on with AEP. That's why I want to get this into the agenda for the next meeting, and that way people can read the whole thing. So, yeah, and then it was kind of like after that, we just discussed next meetings and that. This meeting was held in Spruce Grove. So at the government office there. It's a very nice building. February 20th is a board meeting. That'll be a virtual meeting. February 25th, 26th, there's a Boreal Water Conference in Grand Prairie that the watershed up there is doing, Mighty Peace. And in conjunction with the Athabasca watershed, being everything drains in the Mackenzie Delta, they have a big conference there. On April 24th is another board meeting, and location is still question mark. Kind of roughly talking maybe Whitecourt, which would be cool. June 21st is the AGM, and board meeting location is still not up, but so yeah, that's the breakdown there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I look forward to that report. It sounds like there's a lot of interesting things happening from north to south. So that's looking forward to seeing that. Thank you. We'll go on to 11.1Q, which is community transportation. We had our meeting November 21st. So the highlights from the meeting, Mayor Durko was reelected chair. I was elected vice chair. The 2024 draft budget was accepted by the committee with a recommendation to each council that the $20,000 in reserves be included in the budget, with each municipal portion staying in their respective budgets. There was an SUV discussion that took place to consider replacing the old county van and administration is looking into possible sponsorships with regards to that SUV. During the community transportation a meeting, intermunicipal agreement discussions, when those intermunicipal agreement discussions happen, the committee would like to respectfully request that they be involved with the funding model and reserve contributions, section of that agreement. We also discussed policy 7401, the fee schedule. It was reviewed and discussed. Administration will be reviewing the current policy and will be adding that rates are to be reviewed annually. The committee did not feel a rate increase was required at this time. And the next meeting date will be the call of the chair. And that is all for that one. And I believe our last one, we turn back over to Mr. Very Busy, Councillor Minns, 11.1V for the Island Lake Waterline Advisory Committee.
Yeah, I thought I'd throw this on, and if Councillor Hall wants to chime in on this too, also, he was at the meeting yesterday. We had a meeting with the advisory committee for the Island Lake water line, and it was lots of all the summer villages were there, mayors and that, and just a quick breakdown of the RFP for project manager has been sent out. It'll be closing on December 20th. The agreement with Associated to do the pre-design is up and coming very soon. And then it was also discussed, Island Lake is committed to the engineering. They'll look later at the construction, but they just got to do some open houses with their people in that and discuss that, and there'll be a kind of like a terms of reference made for the committee role of the advisory end. So that'll be coming at the next meeting. One question was about the cost of water, if there was any idea yet on the cost of water, but that was just a quick discussion and nothing really yet because we're just in the design stage right now. We'll discuss it a little bit deeper later. And yeah, and it's we're moving on. That's the biggest thing. We're moving on here. So things will start happening more in January.
Awesome.
You betcha.
Awesome. Thank you.
Counselor
I
Hall.
think in follow-up to that, I wanted to compliment that COBEC's good progress on this project. There's good momentum and we're making progress, and I think we should acknowledge the work that's happened in our county office.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions or clarification they would like to hear about the reports? Counselor Gerlach.
Yeah, not related to this, but is there any progress or what is the status of the feasibility studies that are being done in Rochester and Casland as far as water projects are concerned?
Madam Chair, I don't have an update. I'll bring something to the next committee of the whole status.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Go ahead, Counselor Hall.
It rolled by so quickly, but could you repeat the comments about the reserve fund on the transportation committee? I thought those funds, I thought the intention was that the county would hold those funds.
I'll just grab my paper here. As discussed at the committee, that was what the municipalities that their comments that they brought forward. And so they would ask that they hold their portion of those reserves in their municipality's budget. So they hold them. They're not going to be transferred directly to us until required.
Was there a reason?
You would have to contact the municipalities for that information.
I just thought it might have been discussed at the committee.
No. No, I believe that is their purview and right to ask for that. Is there anything further? Pardon me, thank you. Being that we have nothing further with reports, is there a motion to accept? Counselor Cromwell, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
And thank you. No opposed. That will be 8-0. And being me, our delegate is not scheduled to start until 11 a.m. I don't believe they're here any earlier. They will be joining us on Zoom, so 11 and 11:30. Oh, the 11:30 is on Zoom. Thank you. So the 11 o'clock will be here in person. Thank you. And so we will recess our council meeting until just shortly before 11. think we're all ready to go again. Awesome. All right. Welcome back. We are at our delegation presentation portion of our agenda, 5.1. We have the Athabasca Golf Course. Greg, I'm gonna not say this wrong, so I will we'll wait and do that introduction in a little moment or two. So just a quick bit of information here for our delegations. As described in your delegation package, please keep your presentation to a maximum of 15 minutes. If more time is needed, I will check with council if there are any objections of an extension before we proceed outside the allotted time. Please direct your presentation to council. Council may have questions during or after your presentation, but the presentation is not meant to be a debate. If a councillor does have a question, they will signal me by raising their hand for acknowledgement before proceeding with their question. After your presentation, you are welcome to stay in the gallery to observe as council will be discussing your presentation later in the meeting. Or you can choose to watch the live stream recording of the meeting on the Athabasca County's YouTube channel at your leisure. Please don't expect an immediate response as council may wish to contemplate your information before responding. And if we may start with introductions. On your right is CAO Bob Beck, the recording secretary Tammy Plord. And I think that's all we have for admin. Oh, no, we have Mr. Jordan Schenkelberg over here, who is the communications manager. And if we can start with introductions from councillors, we'll start with Councillor Anderson, please.
Hi, Ashton Anderson. I reside in Division 3.
Good morning, Camille Wallach, Division 9, north of the river.
Morning, Rob Mins, Division 8, Island Lake, Baptiste Lake area.
Good morning, Natasha Kaptanic, Collington, New Pine Creek and Minot, Division 2.
Morning, Joe Gerlach, Division 1, Rochester Fairville area.
And good morning, welcome Gary Cromwell, far north up and including Wandering River area. Thank you for being here today.
And good morning. I am Tracy Holland, Reeve of Athabasca County. And we also have on Zoom, if you'd like to go ahead.
Good morning, Brian Hall, Division 4.
Awesome. So thank you so much for being here and welcome. If you would like to, please begin by introducing yourselves.
Yes, I'm Kevin Romachuk. I'm a board member at the golf course and past president.
Thank you.
I'm David Bonvie and I'm the new president as of last year and been on the board for a couple of years.
Excellent. Thank you very much. If you'd like to please proceed.
In lieu of the information you shared and we read on the documentation, 15 minutes is a good time. You know a little bit about the golf course, I'm sure, just from people in our community and so on. But what we would like before we get into more detailed discussion was what information you would most like to discuss ahead of that. So we're here to talk about the tax or the grant and so on and our situation. But could we narrow down exactly? I can give you a general gist of our golf course if that would be good, a summary, or we can get right into things and we won't risk the 15 minutes.
Council's wish or your choice.
Okay, well, the golf course was established in 1961 and incorporated as a nonprofit in the years following that. We added 9 holes in 1994, a couple of years after I moved here, which was great timing. So we had an 18-hole golf course then. Then there was some renovations done in lieu of, and some of you would know, the trade-off for gravel and stuff along the riverbed. So we renovated part of our golf course. So we have an updated and nice multi-mix of skills required to play our golf course. So we have a new clubhouse built in 1992-93, which had to be moved from because of the renovation and stuff. So we have other statistics around how many people we employ and stuff we will share. And Kevin has some of those and I'll leave with him, but we do find that our golf course is a good draw to the community. We have lots of our local folks that are there and we find that we have tried our very best to keep the cost as reasonable as we can to ensure accessibility for as many as we can in our close. And I've been very fortunate in a career to be able to
very proud of it when we come home here to play. So I'll turn it over to Kevin to share a few of the statistics for you.
Thanks, David. I guess David just mentioned, I'll just further add to a little bit about the golf course. In 2024, we employed over 75 area residents at the golf course and the restaurant. 18 of those were aged 18 and under. We had 21 ages 19 to 30. And then we had 11 30 to 60, and we had 9 seniors employed at our course. So I think even though we are a nonprofit, we certainly are contribute to the local area in terms of employment, offering a recreational facility to youth through youth and seniors, as well as attracting visitors to the area in terms of playing at our course. But I guess the main reason we're here is regarding our property tax. I guess just of a bit of history. I think from 2010 through 2019, going back through our records, we have received I guess a waiver or grant to cover the full municipal portion of the property taxes. Through 2020 and 2022, we have received grants in the amount of 12,000 in 2020 and 10,000 in 21 and 22. So we would like to thank council and the county for their support in those areas. We have noticed, I guess, a significant increase as most people have as costs go up with property taxes over the last few years. I believe looking back, our total assessment was, I think, $21,400 in 2021, increased slightly to $22,915 in 2022. Then there was about an $8,000 increase to $30,581 in 2023. And I believe 2024 was $38,885 increase in property taxes. So as I mentioned, we did receive the grant support from the county in 20 through 22. In 2023, we had a bit of a tumultuous year at the golf course in terms of our management. We had to switch managers partway through the year. We had a new manager at the start of the year. So with the changeover in management and staff, we failed. There was an oversight and failed to submit the request for a grant in 2023, and as such, it did not receive any. But further looking at the property tax issue, I think we were advised to look into applying under the COPTR regulations for a tax exemption to see whether we would qualify and to address the need for a grant and that. So we did submit a written request, I believe, just at the end of last year, I think towards the end of December of last year, to the county, asking if we can be considered for a tax exemption under the COPTR regulations. With that, like I say, we would thank you for your consideration of that application, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, we will ask questions of council. Does council have any questions, pardon me, of our presenters? Councillor Kurlock.
Is part of the golf course in the town and part of the golf course in the county?
Yes. Yeah, there is, the majority is in the county, but a portion of the is in the town. And I believe that the town has waived their municipal portion of property taxes over the years, but a portion is in the town. A lot of that portion that was taken for the bridge construction and that, but yeah, we are town and county.
Historically, was there not an agreement between the town and county that they would both be tax exempt?
I think that was kind of the understanding, that's the understanding we had, and with the town. So like I say, through 2019 or 2018, we were I guess exempt or received a grant or waiver of the municipal portion of property taxes. We have continued to receive that waiver from the town, but I think beginning in I think it was 2021, instead of the full waiver, we have received grants, but not covering the full amounts since 2021, I believe.
Thank you.
Councillor Kaptani.
Thank you. Outside of the golf course itself being a tourism and economic driver, can you speak to I don't want to say if you know like the amount offhand, but the amount of tournaments, say in a year, that provide assistance to community groups via fundraising. I know that's a big deal at the golf course.
Yeah, so there are I guess we probably host five, an average of maybe 5 events that involved local communities. Rotary Club of Athabasca has a tournament every 2 years. Road to Hope is an annual event. The Omens Association, Allpack hosts a tournament in which funds are donated to the community and other events. So there certainly is there, and as part of the recognition there, we do offer discounted rates to those organizations as well as part of our contribution towards the those community groups.
And just in my mind from attending, say, Road to Hope, for example, that brings in people from all over Alberta, just that one event. And I'm not sure on their last count, but the money that they raised for Road to Hope was like tens of thousands of dollars in that one event, I believe. Guess maybe you wouldn't know because you're not the treasurer for Road to Hope, but I just wanted to, I wanted to verify that like the golf course is not just for recreational purposes in our community.
We've also hosted a large Indigenous support tournament, not this year, but in the last 2 years, which drew in 180 people. It was full. It was an amazing event. This year it didn't happen, but it wasn't, I don't know if they went to another location or not, but so we have that as well.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for being here today and for your presentation and the information you provided us. We do have it coming up on our agenda, as I mentioned, a little later. We do have another delegation coming in at 11:30, so it will be a little bit after that before we get back to it for further discussion amongst council. You're welcome to stay.
Is there an option for communication to us after that event based on what your decision is?
Absolutely, yes. Once council has gone forward, administration will be happy to reach out.
Okay, that's perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Take care. Stay warm. So I guess, being that we do have time between our next delegation, 8.3 on our agenda, if we would like to go forward to that, is on page 114. It's there. All right, Councillor Wallach.
I'd like to make the recommended motion, please.
Thank you. Is there any discussion amongst council? Councillor Mintz?
I guess reading the legislation and everything like that that goes along with this and the application was everything filled out the proper way for this application and that and it is covered under the legislation of the copter thing?
Madam Chair, yeah, we referred, they filled out all the paperwork properly. We referred it off to our assessment company now who deals with many of these through other municipalities. So they have lots of experience dealing with copter, and the recommendation is basically based on their advice back to us is it does meet. To get a full exemption, I think that there's one area where they could be a little stronger, and it has to do with the number of youth that would participate. But other than that, they still had, I think they had 20% participation to get full exemption. It should be 40, I believe, under copter. So they recommended a bit of a not 100% on the golf course portion of it, and no exemption on the clubhouse and pro shop. But otherwise, they see these applications all the time and made the recommendation based on their experience.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Hall.
I just want to, say the golf course is a real driver of economic activity in the region. And I think this is one of the things that brings people in and given administrations, understanding of these rules and the recommendation from both the assessment group and administration, this is one that I'm fully supportive of.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? All right, the recommended motion, if I'm not mistaken, is that council authorize partial tax exemption of the property as follows. No exemption for clubhouse portion of the property, 90% of golf course portion of the property for a 3-year period, effective taxation year 2025 to 2027 inclusive. And that recommendation and motion was, that motion was made by Councillor Wallach. If there is no further discussion, we will take that to the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
I see no opposed, and that would be 8-0. Thank you. That motion is passed, and we will have to recess until our next delegation comes in at 11:30. Thank you. I think now that we have a few minutes, just a little bit of housekeeping. I would like to thank you, Administration Tammy, for doing all of this work you're throwing into this. And we understand that administration is short-handed, short-staffed, and I think we need to exercise some patience so that administration has that support from us, that we appreciate everything that you're doing, and that we take a step back and understand that there is a learning process to this. If you do see any errors that are coming out in the agenda or in the minutes that you're concerned about, please forward those to administration as soon as you can, so that we don't go through this situation where everybody's stumbling. And so once again, thank you so much for all that you're doing. And I really appreciate everyone else's cooperation in helping that out. Okay. Ready to go? All righty. We have returned from recess and we are at our item 5.2. And we have a delegation here for a presentation from the local helicopter emergency response organization foundation, HERO. And just a brief overview, as described in your delegation package, please keep your presentation to a maximum of 15 minutes. If more time is needed, I will check with council if there are any objections of an extension before we proceed outside the allotted time. Please direct your presentation to council. Council may have questions during or after your presentation, but the presentation is not meant to be a debate. If a councillor does have a question, they will signal me by raising their hand for acknowledgement before proceeding with their question. After your presentation, you are welcome to stay to observe as council will be discussing your presentation right after this, as that is our next item on our agenda. Or you can choose to watch the live stream recording of the meeting on the Athabasca County's YouTube channel at your leisure. Please don't expect an immediate response, as council may wish to contemplate your information before responding. So if we may start with introductions, we have here from administration, our CAO, Bob Beck. We have recording secretary, Tammy Plourd. We also have communications manager, Jordan Schenkelberg. And I will begin on my right with council.
Rob Mins, Division 8, Baptiste Lake, Island Lake area.
Hello, Natasha Kapchanik, Division 2, Manuka, New Pine Creek and Collington.
Good morning, Joe Gerlach, Division 1 in the south, Rochester Fairville area.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. Gary Cromwell, far north, up to and including the Wandering River area.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning, Ashton Anderson, Division 3, which is the Boyle area.
Good morning, Camille Wallach, Division 9, north of the river.
Would you like to introduce yourself on Zoom? We have
Brian Hall.
Yes. Sorry.
Councillor Hall, and I'm Tracy
Division
Holland.
4.
No, thank you. So we have Councillor Hall visiting as well on Zoom from Division 4. I'm Tracy Holland, the Reeve of Athabasca County. And if you'd like to go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Yes, so my name is Lorna Ash. I am the Executive Director of the local helicopter emergency response organization. And I'm not sure if Paul's hopped on here yet.
I am on. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. Paul Spring. I'm the President CEO of Phoenix Heli Flight in Fort McMurray and the founder and former board chair of the local HERO Foundation.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that and welcome and thank you for being here. If you'd like to go ahead.
You just. Go. You see the screen there?
Looks good.
Perfect. Thank you. So for the record, my name is Lorna Ash, and I am the Executive Director of the local helicopter emergency response organization, and otherwise known as Local HERO Foundation. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you today about the Local HERO Foundation and the critical role we play in providing emergency medical services throughout northeastern Alberta and beyond. So the foundation was established as a nonprofit in 2013 and gained charitable status in 2016 and is governed by a board of directors. Local HERO has a long legacy building history prior to inception, always with the goal of providing 24/7 dedicated Medivac helicopter coverage for those living, working, and playing in the northeastern region of Alberta. The legacy was built by these two here. So Paul, you've just met. Paul and Andrea Spring, owners of Phoenix Heli Flight. Paul has about 22 years of Medivac experience prior to founding the Local HERO. So Phoenix Heli Flight is a for-profit helicopter company, but for many years, Paul was called upon on an ad hoc basis to help out on highway collisions, off-road incidences, rural communities, rural work sites, and out in the vast lands we all live on the rivers, lakes, and trails. It was when things started getting busier. He had uprooted his family to move and live above the hangar, so he could respond quickly if a call came in. And an emergency doctor at the time had approached Paul to ask if he would be willing to consider providing a dedicated service. So you have to remember that Paul was with a for-profit company. He would be out, he'd be working, he'd get a call to come and help out at these scenes. And of course, he'd have to call his client, ask if it was okay, see if he had somebody available. He outfitted 5 of his helicopters with stretcher kits as well, just so he could help out in these situations at that time. So lives were being lost, and the emergency doctor was very concerned. He said lives were being lost and too many poor medical outcomes for those that did survive, but still weren't getting to the hospital in time. So came a lot of advocating, promises of support, and in 2013, Local Hero became a nonprofit and dedicated service. That makes it sound like it was easy, but Paul can share that it was not. A service agreement was written between the board and Phoenix HeliFlight for Phoenix to provide and operate the Helicopter Emergency Medical Service Program on behalf of the foundation. In December of the same year, 3 months later, we received Transport Canada approval of night vision goggles, and the 24/7 service began. So Hero started with a leased helicopter, and then in July of 2014, our operator took delivery of a new EC-135 helicopter, which is known as the Hero 1. Again, you remember at this time we were just starting out, and there is no way the foundation was able to purchase this helicopter. So this is a fully medically equipped helicopter that holds 2 pilots, 2 paramedics, and a stretcher for 1 patient. Hero 1 will always fly with 2 dually trained paramedic firefighters from the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo Emergency Services. The types of calls we're doing, we all live in the rural areas, and we're out in the backwoods and rural sites, and the highway incidents. So having that dually trained where they have the ability and experience with Jaws of Life type services, as well as they've helped our pilots cutting down trees and things when they need to get closer to patients on the scene. So their experience is incredible in this way, and it's vital to the program. So at least one, and often both, of the paramedics are advanced care level paramedics as well. And with the fully equipped helicopter, the paramedics are only required to bring their bag of narcotics in case they require that at the scene. So from the map here, you can see the 2 circles. The inner circle is within a 1-hour flight path, and that's out to scene and then back to the hospital. And Athabasca County is on the cusp of that. And then the second circle is a 2-hour flight out and back. So it costs approximately $3,100 per hour flight, and that's just in the fuel and maintenance. So how does it work? Our focus area is northeastern Alberta, and that includes the northern border of Athabasca County and Wandering River area. Now, I added some other surrounding areas on the slide so that you can see that we can be called anywhere. We work together with dispatch, and if we are closest and fastest to the scene, they will dispatch us. So I get asked all the time, how many calls do you get in a year? My first response is always, if it was only one and it was your loved one, would it matter what the cost is? It puts into perspective, we cannot put a price on saving a life. Then I share the real numbers, and just so all of you know, that in 2023, we received 107 calls and flew 87.5 mission flight hours. Local Hero exists to enhance the emergency service of the ground crew. We save time and we save lives. Local Hero Foundation is grateful for all our donors and for the support. As you can see here, we have several different areas of funding we receive. So we do have provincial funding from an AHS contract, which we have been negotiating for a longer term and a more equitable agreement for several years now. We have grants from the RMWB, and we have a grant from United Way. We have our major gift donors, which include 5 of 6 of the oil giants in our region. And then other fundraising that we do is we have a Speed of Life campaign, and we do 2 fundraising events each year. One of them is the first weekend of May. It's always a different type of theme every year, and as well as our car show in July. So we hope to see, maybe you guys can come up sometime. And just so you know, there is never, ever a charge to the patient. So this slide here, this showcases our multi-year partners. These partners help us provide a sustainable program. It's something we can count on for 3 to 5 years at a time. So we know how we can plan and move forward each year. We're extremely grateful for all of their support. And hopefully we'll see the county's logo on there one day. Today, to sum up why I'm here. So while Athabasca County lies on the border of our primary focus area, we do respond when called, especially in the northern area of Wandering River. Our team has worked directly with the Wandering River Fire Department on many occasions, and we've been called to many emergencies along Highway 63, both within and leading in and out of Athabasca County. I've also had the privilege of meeting several Athabasca County residents over the years who commute to and from the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo for work. This shared connection highlights the importance of having fast, reliable Medivac services available to everyone traveling these routes, whether they're local residences, workers, or visitors. We're here today to ask for your support as an investment in your people and those who travel through or visit your region. Every dollar of support helps Hero One keep flying, fully equipped and ready to respond at a moment's notice. We hope we are never needed, but emergencies happen, and when they do, every moment counts. Whether it's a medical crisis or a traumatic incident, our goal is to save lives and improve outcomes. Your support helps us ensure we remain ready with the resources, equipment, and skilled personnel necessary to respond effectively. Together, we can make sure that when life happens, Hero is there. Thank you for your time and consideration on partnering with us on this journey.
Thank you very much for the information you provided in your presentation. I'll leave it to the council here to see if there's any questions that they would like for points of clarification or questions that they may have. Councillor Cromwell.
Thank you. Not a question, but a comment. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you very much for what it is that you do for the northern residents and everyone traveling up and down that highway corridor. We know that Hero is closer than any other airship, and your response time has been greatly appreciated by many, many people over the years. So thank you for what you do over there, Paul and Lorna. We appreciate you.
Thank you. And Councillor Mintz.
Good morning. Yeah, great presentation. I'm just wondering, when you say you're dispatched out, how does that work? Like, do you work together with STARS and or who dispatches you to the location?
So currently, through the chair to the councillor, yes, currently we are dispatched through ELC, which is run by STARS. Local dispatch for 911 calls have come back to our region right here, and we have been told that the Medivac will also be dispatched locally here soon. So we're waiting on that change, but currently it is coming through STARS at ELC.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Capitania.
Hi there. I was just looking at your donor list and I'm just wondering if you are considering making this presentation or have made it to the MD and to the County of Lac-La-Biche.
Thank you. Through the chair to the counselor. Yes, actually, it is something we've been discussing very recently.
Thank you. Counselor Hall?
Thank you for sharing the important work that you do. And I agree with you that one pickup is one too many. So this is your first presentation here. And so I'm just wondering, can you help us understand, how did you come up with the amount of your request? What drives that? And
Yes, thank you. Through the chair to the counselor. You know, it's just, if you look at, I mentioned it's $3,100 per flight out to, you know, for an hour mission, and that's just the fuel and maintenance. That does not count all the other costs of having pilots 24/7. They're on site, and so with that cost, and then considering the amount of, you know, we're not down in your area all the time, not as often as we are up here, which we have multi-year donations of $300,000. We have some of, you know, $50,000. It's all different dollar values. Thinking and considering of how many times we're down in your area, we just thought it would be a good starting point.
thank you.
Does anyone else have any further questions? No? Thank you very much for being with us here today. And I really appreciate your presentation and the information that you've provided to us. I know how very important Hero is in your municipality and the surrounding areas. And just a little fun fact, I love the wrap that you have on your helicopters, the Northern Lights. I think that's pretty amazing as well. I guess if that is it for council and no one has any further questions, thank you again for being here, and we will be going on to discuss this a little further right away. So you are welcome to stay and observe on Zoom, or again, we're on live stream as well with YouTube, and it is recorded. So you are able to go back and have a look at that as well. So your choice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. So we are at moving to the last item of our agenda, which is 8.5, the funding request from our delegation that we have here from Hero. Councillor Capitania.
This may not be popular, but I would like to table this item. And the reason being is I would like to get more information after they presented to the MD and to Lac-La-Biche. I fear that those two communities may want to base their giving decision on ours if we made one quickly, and that might help or hinder the process.
Would postpone to a certain meeting be, instead of tabling, we basically shelve that. So if
can we postpone till we can have Hero present to us again what the other partners, after they've met with the other partners, and what decisions that they can, what information they can share with us from those meetings?
Thank you. When procedurally, I'm sorry, postponing, is there discussion? I think you have to use the wording postpone, but I will ask for procedural, please.
Yeah, that would be an appropriate wording, postpone.
Okay, to postpone. So that would be a motion that's on the floor. Is there any discussion with that? I'm sorry, CAO. Are we able to discuss that at all, or just there's no discussion for a postpone? Okay. All right. So this is where we are to postpone, and do we vote on this? I'm sorry. Yes. No.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
I'll have to actually consult our procedural bylaw if you're asking if there's discussion on a postponement. On a tabling, there is not. So
bear with us for a moment, folks, while we
Madam Chair, under section 13 10, it's if it's to postpone indefinitely, it's not debatable and it's a simple majority vote.
Thank you very much. So this is where we are at. We will postpone until further thank you very much. Oh, she missed it through the microphone. May you please repeat?
I'll try. I would like to postpone this discussion until we receive more information from Hero based on their future meetings with municipalities that they serve and what contributions will be made by those municipalities.
Thank you. All right. We are at the point to vote. All those in favor? And those opposed?
Aye, nay.
Right, we have 6-2 and that motion passed. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even see Ms. Chamzik join us. Sorry about that, Councillor Chamzik. How do you vote?
I literally just came in on the vote. I don't even know where you're at the agenda, so I would prefer not to, please.
Actually, you have to vote now that you're here, so you might choose either. I'm sorry, you'll have to vote.
Okay, where are we at?
All right, the motion is to postpone till a later date until we have surrounding municipalities also have this presentation and we obtain further information.
And is this at 5.2
Yes,
or?
this is, we
Oh,
just had a
in
presentation.
favor, please.
Okay, thank you. So if I understand correctly, we have 9 at our tables. It will be 7 and 2. And that motion carries. Thank you all for joining us here today. Motion to adjourn. Next, Councillor Mins, who's chosen. All those in favor?
Aye.
I missed Councillor Hall, but I'm assuming that was an aye. 9-0. Thank you.